Okay, so I've glued it in place, and as you can see, it just makes everything flush. So now we're going to measure for the fabric, and we just want an inch of the fabric to roll inside because I'm going to do something totally different on the inside. So I'm going to measure from one corner all the way around to the other side of the box. And it's measuring 41, so I'm going to cut it an inch long. I'm going to cut it 42. And then you want to make it the highest point of the box. So I'm going to measure, so that's 42 inches. And I'm going to measure it. And you want to inch off the bottom to go across the bottom. So I'm going to measure, it's measuring 9, so I'm going to make it, actually it's 9.5, so I'm going to make it 10.5. So I need a piece that's 10.5 inches by 42. Here's the fabric that I'm using, and it's kind of a faux suede. So we know our height needs to be 10 inches. So I'm going to keep folding this in half till I can get the 10-inch mark. What I do now is I'm just going to kind of line it up on my cutting board. And I'm going to take my clear ruler and I'm going to square it off first. And using the rotary cutter, nice clean blade. You should check out my video on how to change your blades and keep them nice and sharp. Now that's what a nice cutting blade does. So now I'm going to measure 10 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I'm going to cut it the 10 inches. See if we can get another nice clean cut. And we did. Cool thing. So I've ironed my faux suede. It's got all the wrinkles out. So now we're ready to start gluing it. Now I always like to start on the back. And when you start on the back, you want to start on one corner. So I'm just going to take my glue and put some glue on this one corner. And remember, we're going to leave a 1 inch on the bottom and a 1 inch on the top. Glued a little bit on this edge right here, since that's the back. That's the part that had that little hole there, so nobody's going to really see that. It's going to be in the back. And you got enough to turn under from the bottom and enough to turn in for the top. I'm only doing corners because I don't want all this glue all over this. So I'm going to just do one corner again. And I'm not putting a lot of glue, just a little bit. But I'm going to pull the fabric tight. Pull the fabric tight so that the glue adheres on that side. Now that we're on this side, we did it on the back side here. Kind of hold that down. See, I'm pressing that down and making sure the glue sticks. And while I'm holding that, I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on this corner. And I'm going to go ahead and put that down on top. That way you got some security from the back side and some security for the top side. And now we're back here to this side. So I'm going to go ahead. This time I'm going to put the glue back a little bit because I want to fold this other end over. So I'm going to set the glue back here. But I'm still going to pull it tight so that we can adhere it all. Now I have a little extra fabric, so I'm going to fold this over maybe about an inch overlap, then I'm going to cut it. Because what you're going to do is you're going to fold this over like that. I'm going to go ahead and put the glue on this part right here because that's where we want it. And before it dries and runs, I'm going to fold it over, fold this over, and catch it. It ran a little bit, but that's okay. You can always peel that off later. So we're going to hold that down. I'm going to go ahead and do the underside first because it's going to be pretty simple. And we're just going to put glue around the perimeter, and then we're going to hold it down, and then on the middle spot. Okay, now I'm going to take the corners and I'm just going to kind of pleat them in. like so. Now the side that has that fold on it, we're going to have to put a little bit more glue to hold that down. And this part, you might want to use your finger or a ruler or something, because it's going to get hot. For the bottom, I'm not going to do fabric, I'm going to do cardstock. So I have this 11 by 17 piece of cardstock, and we're going to put that on the back to kind of seal it off, and that'll help this slide too when it goes inside of the cubby. I'm going to lay the box on top of the cardstock paper and trace it out. Now that I have it traced out, I'm just going to cut it, nothing fancy. So I'm going to put it on the inside. So now you see, I see fabric all the way around the edges. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to round these edges, and I'm using a paper rounder. I'll leave a link below where you can find this. So I'm just going to set this inside and round the edge. There we go. Do all 4 of them. So now when I put it on top of it, it looks even better. Now this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the glue on the cardboard. So I'm putting the glue on one side. And I'm going to stop there, because this gives me an opportunity to kind of position that at the top and the sides. So now I'm going to come on this side, and I'm going to, so now I know where my card is. So I'm just going to put the glue just up under there, just like that. Then I'm going to turn it and do the same thing under here, just up under. So now we're going to press that down. So now, so to do the sides, I'm going to go ahead and cut this excess fabric down here. We want to leave about 1 inch. So I'm just eyeing it. We're going to start gluing this in. So I'm going to start by turning it up like this. Put glue right here on the edge. So let's see if I can do that and you guys see it. And I'm going to pull this tight and over. Tight and over. See, I just pulled that in just tight. Now I'm going to do the other side the same way. A little bit of glue. See, hold that down, that glue. Now we're going to repeat the same thing for the sides. So go ahead and glue the sides on both sides. Alright, so I have all my insides glued down. Like I said, it's not very attractive, but it will work. And so for the inside, I'm going to use that same paper that I used on the bottom. I'm going to use it on the inside because I want it to be white. So on the inside, you want the inside piece, and you're going to measure it so that it comes just up the top above this. So that's about 7 7/8. And I'm going to make this from the inside, make it about 5 3/4. Same thing on the sides. We know the side's going to be 7 7/8, and we're going to cut it down. And we want the length to be 13 1/2. We need 2 of those. And then the final pleat piece is going to be 4 7/8 by 6 3/4. And this, I have my 4 pieces cut, my 2 sides, my short end and my tall end, and I'm going to go ahead and glue them in place the same way we glued the edges. We're just going to glue this down. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue down on the inside of the box, and this time I will do it all over. And I'll go ahead and put the first piece in and press it down. So the first side is done. I'm going to flip it over to the other end, and let's go ahead and line it up, make sure it fits good, and it does. And now I'm going to go ahead and put glue on it and get it locked into. Now that side is in. So now we're going to repeat the same thing for our two longer sides. So I'm going to have the sides in now. As you can see, everything looks nice and neat, and it is definitely ready for pattern. But you know me, I'm not done with this. I want to add something else to it. I want to add a handle on the end of here. So I'm grabbing a scrap of fabric and I'm just going to square it off. Make sure it's the same width all the way across. And I'm going to take that fabric, let me move this box away. I'm going to take the fabric and I'm going to fold this in half and meet the ends in the middle, and then I'm going to fold it over, and I'm going to top stitch this. But before, I want to find out how wide I want my handle to be. So I'm going to kind of measure it. I want it to be, I'm going to go ahead and fold this over just so I can see, have an idea. So I want it to be from here to maybe about here. So the handle's about 5 inches, so I'm going to cut it 6 because I want a 1/2 inch to go in there. So let me go ahead and cut this 6 inches. And now I got to get my sewing machine because now I want to sew this. So again, like I said, I'm going to fold the corners in. And because I want them to stay put, I'm going to go ahead and top stitch the ends down. Okay, now I'm going to fold it in on itself. And then double fold. And I'm just going to stitch it all the way around, all 4 sides. Even the sides I just stitched, I'm going to stitch right in the same stitch. Now because I didn't interface this and I want it stiff, I'm going to run a couple of stitches in the middle. So I've got my handle stitched and it's a little more sturdy now. So I'm just going to kind of position it where I want it, kind of like right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my owl and I'm going to poke a hole. Whoops. We're going to line it up right smack in the middle. And I'm going to lift it up just a little bit so that I get a little bit of a pull. So I'm going to put this one in and I'm going to just take the owl and I have to kind of put it down to do that, and I'm just going to twist, and I'm going through all thickness. Now I went through all thickness. I'm now going to take some fasteners. These are those little gold fasteners that have the little ends that you pull out, and I'm going to stick this inside, and there it is on that side. You see the gold there? Flip it over on the inside, and I'm going to just simply flatten it out, and that holds it in place. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, but remember I want a little bit of a handle so I can grab it and pull it. So I'm going to lift it up like that, take my owl, I'll show you where you can buy this too, and poke a hole. You just want to make sure that the point goes through on the inside. And it did. So now I grab another fastener. Stick that fastener in there. Come to the inside. And put the little levers down flat. But there we have a cute little handle. So I can pull this out when I want to grab my, my patterns. So now all that's left is to put the patterns back in the box. So now I have the patterns inside. I have a really cool handle that I can pull this out, kind of like the boxes that you put in your cubbies, those collapsible boxes, except this one doesn't collapse. So now you can just pull this handle out, and all my patterns are neatly in here, and I think it looks rather neat. So I hope this tip has been helpful on how to make your very own pattern storage box with a cute, nifty handle. I hope that you try it. Happy crafting. Happy sewing.